Just recently, I've sort of, from some advice from you and also from Ed Dale and others saying, you know, now's a good time to be selling domain names on Flipper. So jumped on there, sold my domain name.
Congratulations
thank you.
that.
That was my first one. Really happy with that. Got a really good price, and the guy, Carl, who purchased it, he got a really good deal as well, so it was very much a win-win. He's now looking to purchase that domain name to make sure that the transaction goes smoothly. You know, I started off by zipping up all the content on the site, sending it over to him, and now we're in a process where we want to make sure that, you know, I've done a lot of search engine stuff for that particular domain name, built the backlinks, and got some fantastic rankings. We want to make sure it sticks. Do you have any tips on that?
For sure, keep it with the same registrar. If possible, keep it on the same server. Was it on a personal server or was it?
It was through Webhost for SEO.
Right. So if possible, keep it on, you know, the exact same server as well. And you know, I found you know, we can never predict Google or their patterns. What I found is if I keep it on the same server and keep it with the same registrar, then generally it maintains its page rank and all of its other qualities.
Have you experienced anything like, I'm curious to know if it's like, I think Google is a domain registrar, so they're getting access to the information of when domain names are bought and sold. And obviously when the new contact details of the person get updated. I'm just wondering, the way that these websites are getting ranked are by inbound links. Those inbound links aren't changing, so I'm wondering if you have any idea as to when we're changing hands to a new owner, from a analysis of the domain name, not much is changing unless they're taking into consideration things like domain name age, and then for some reason that's reset upon swapping. I don't know.
No, it's not reset upon swapping. As long as you transfer it, the age will remain exactly the same. This is a consideration. That's why I said before I'm not focusing as much on expired domain names, because when they delete, their age is their creation date starts all over again. We've found that some domain names have been affected by this. We've also found that some haven't been affected by that. We don't know whether it's because Google has to deal with so many URLs out there that doesn't get around to dealing with some. I think with your scenario there, you should be perfectly fine, because listen, you know, there's websites as businesses get sold every day. Wouldn't it be criminal if somebody paid, you know, for example, business.com, somebody paid 340 odd million for it, and because it got sold and transferred to a new owner, it lost all of its rankings and all of its position within Google. It would be crazy for Google to do that, because it's a perfectly legitimate transaction that's taken place. You've sold a business, as it were.
So I think looking back now, like, I mean, you've done a lot of buying and selling of domain names, and especially the work that you've done with the last Edge conference, sort of getting the word out there as to how to do it and how to do it appropriately with following, you know, the best practices. Where are you seeing people going wrong when they're getting into sort of the world of domaining?
Well, first and foremost, people buy a brand new domain name and then expect to get indexed very quickly, and they expect to get ranking very quickly, and it just doesn't happen that way. So that's the biggest thing I see, the biggest mistake I see people making, because you can actually get domain names that have had have got a history, have got an age, have got some page rank, and have got the exact keywords that you're looking for as well, for, you know, a little bit extra money. And I think it's well worth spending that extra money on your foundations, which is your domain name.
So it sounds like the real key there, people focusing in on just the domain name, the name itself, as opposed to thinking buying something that's got some content there to build on.
Absolutely. And also people, another mistake people make are, if they are aiming for SEO traffic, then they don't think about the keyword. They just think about their branding, and branding is important. Don't get me wrong, but if you're really focusing on SEO traffic, then you need to make sure that the key phrase is in there.
And you find from an SEO point of view, just having that key phrase in there if you're doing some basic backlink building, you just shoot straight up to the top for
absolutely.
that. So that's why getting that money keyword right in your domain name is so important.
Correct.
You've been doing internet marketing for a while now, and looking back on sort of the development over your career, can you try and identify, I always like to ask people, looking back now, if you could see where are the key leverage points, the points where you might go, once I started doing, getting my customer support outsourced, or once I start doing whatever, I can identify one or two things that just started to propel you forward?
Yeah. There's a few things, and one of them actually is, and it sounds cheesy, is domaining. Once I realised that, and I've been domaining for years, but once I realised that I could actually get domains that had page rank, that had age, that had these key phrases in there, that was my biggest turning point, because I started using domain names then to build my own content networks. Which propelled my money sites. And also another big point for me was kind of on a personal level as well. It was when I discovered wealth dynamics. I think Donal pointed it out to me. I think you might have mentioned it as well.
We talked on it, briefly.
And I think Nez as well, Andrew Nez, he mentioned it to me. And it was when I realised my profile and my weaknesses and also my strengths, because when I did the wealth dynamics profile, I realised that those things that I'd always beaten myself up about because I wasn't very good at them, that was just because of my profile. And also I realised what I needed to do, instead of putting too much effort into those areas to try and come up to scratch, why don't I just outsource those areas?
Makes sense.
More recently, this has been a big kind of development for me. So I've started to really outsource those areas that I don't like doing and that don't suit my profile.
So the two real big ones, obviously, domaining and the idea of outsourcing your weaknesses.
Of course, and also discovering the likes of Ed Dale and Dan Rain. When I saw that Dominique series. Or in American they say Dominique. What do you say? Do you say
Dominique?
niche?
I'm niche.
You're niche. When I saw the Dominique series, that
just spoke to you.
That really did speak to me.
Were there any other people, I suppose, that really had a big impact on your development?
There's people like Frank Kern. I've looked at his stuff as well, and recently Andy Jenkins with his video boss stuff. I started doing a video recently, and then Donal, who was at the Product Launch Formula event, sent me a link to Andy's first video just before he'd sent it out, and I looked at it and I thought, God, I've got to scrap this video and start all over again now.
Very cool. I know you're probably someone that people want to keep an eye on as well, if they want to sort of keep on the pulse of what's happening in domaining, especially up and coming, rising young star here. What are the best ways people can keep in touch with you? Twitter, website? What's the best way?
Twitter, it's twitter.com/Kenny Goodman. Or there's my blog, which is kennysblog.com.
Well, that's nice and easy. Well, thank you very much, guys. Domain naming is really something that you want to keep an eye out for. I feel like it's almost like where this is a new playing field here. This is new opportunities. As Kenny said, this is early days. There's a huge amount of opportunity here. You could be the next Warren Buffett, buying these web businesses, building them up, and then either holding them or flipping them and start selling them again. So it's an opportunity you should look out for. So I'd just like to thank you, Kenny. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to your presentation.
Yeah.